Hey, welcome back to Spiritual Modalities for a Spiritual Life, continuing our beautiful workshop series. And today I'm really excited to introduce you to Jennifer Boyd. She's been a friend of mine for the last 5 years. We've been working together, and I truly love her modality. It's all about the ancient Chinese art of placement. Flow, Qi, you've heard these words before, how we move through space and how space affects us. Can't wait for you to experience this modality for yourself. So, before I bring Jen on in this interview, I thought I would do a beautiful intro and read you her bio. So stay watching, that's coming up next on my channel. 2003, Jen has created harmonious home and work environments through the practical yet simple Feng Shui principles. Jen truly is down to earth. She loves making this ancient study easy to understand for anyone in today's lifestyle. Jen also loves to bring attention to her clients the importance of self-care and how to truly honor your own personal Qi. In 2003, Jen became a certified Feng Shui practitioner from the Western School of Feng Shui in Solana Beach, California. Jen has also spent the last 20 years in a corporate marketing and sales job. Jen's focus truly is on helping her clients create prosperity, well-being, and even happiness. And she believes that she can do this through optimizing their home and work environments. Without further ado, let's introduce you to Jen Boyd and the beautiful modality of Feng Shui. Welcome, Jen.
Hey!
Thank you so much for taking time out of your very important day. I know it's 1:30 there, it's close to 4 here, so I appreciate your time today helping my class understand the beautiful modality of modality of Feng Shui. So exciting. And thank Marlene for introducing us. I know you and I go back about 5 years, so I think we're going to get to know each other even better today. So to get into Feng Shui, I've already introduced you. I read your beautiful bio. Can you just help us understand, the basic principles and tell us about how you got into this modality and what this modality is?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for having me on here. This is such a treat. I'm so excited to talk about Feng Shui, and it's been such a wonderful journey that I've been through. So I'm so excited to share it with other people. Yeah. So my journey started in 2001 at a time when I was working in corporate America. I was working for a Fortune 500 company in Atlanta, and I had a really busy life. And I was commuting, I had a busy work life, the Atlanta traffic, everything seemed busy, and I was really scattered. And I was really like, I need something that's going to help me create more wellness within myself. Yes. I needed to feel more centered, more balanced. And ironically, the answer came in a way that I would have never guessed. I went down to visit my mom in Sarasota, Florida. She was living down there, kind of close to you. That's where I grew up. And she handed me this book on Feng Shui. And she's like, oh, I'm reading this book on Feng Shui. And I was like, Feng what? I was literally like, I hadn't read any Eastern thought at that point. That was about 18 years ago. And I didn't know anything from anything. I didn't know about energy or spirituality or anything. And so she hands me this book, and I was like, I don't really know what she's talking about, but okay, it's my mom, so okay, sure. Well, anyways, that weekend, I ended up diving into that book, and as soon as I started reading, it just made so much sense. Like understanding that the things in your environment have an impact on you, that they have an energy, and they're affecting you in different ways. And I love the idea of being able to move things around or eliminate things or add things in that would make me feel good, either with the 5 elements or just understanding what was in my space and how it's affecting me.
Well, that's a good intro to what Feng Shui actually is. So is it all about energy, space, place? Take us through kind of the backdrop story of how this modality, I know it's ancient, right? So take us through some of the history so we can uncover And what is it today? I'm curious of how it's transitioned from ancient to today in the modern world. So take us through some of the more details.
Some of the details.
Yeah.
Such a great question. Yeah, originally Feng Shui started about 5,000 years ago at a time when China was very nomadic. So they had these nomadic communities. And Feng Shui practitioners were, they would actually go out ahead of their tribe, and they would find auspicious land sites where their tribe could thrive and survive. You know, they would look at where the land formations were, where the mountains were, where the water was flowing, where the trees were abundant, you know, where they could live safely and comfortably and feel protected and live vibrantly. And that was a Feng Shui practitioner's job, was to identify these land sites.
So good question. Was it more about safety, and as far as, you know, or was it more about chi and energy, or, you know, so help me understand that. Was it both?
Yeah, it's really about creating an auspicious site. So the words Feng Shui mean wind and water. So it represents your thoughts, your subconscious. So that's kind of like your energy. And then it represents, and then Feng Shui represents your physical environment. So it's that balance of your thoughts and your subconscious balance with what's actually happening in your space. So it's that perfect balance.
So good question then. When your mom gave you this book, and I love the backdrop story for you getting into it, were you already aware of your own environment and your own space, but just never knew that there was an energetic reason to it? Were you sensitive to, you know, some people care about their aesthetics, some people don't, right? So were you already in that vibe?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked design. I mean, I'm not like an interior designer or anything like that. I like things to feel good, but I think there was an emotional quality that was like a big piece of the puzzle when you start to understand how the things in your space really represent what's happening in your life, and that you can change your life. You can change the picture of your life by changing what's in your space.
I love that. So here we are talking about the ancient art of this and how, you know, they started 5,000 years ago. Take us to today a little bit. And it's still practiced. Is it still heavily immersed in that environment over there, or is it in the Western world also?
We use it a lot over here. We can use it in our home environments, in our work environments. From our home standpoint, we're really at that point, we're looking, you know, and it starts kind of looking out in our community, you know, and our neighborhoods. And then it kind of draws in closer how our furniture is arranged, what the artwork is, making sure we have all 5 elements. And so that way it affects like the quality of your relationships, communication. And then, you know, Feng Shui draws on like the 9 areas of life: prosperity, career, relationships, creativity, health, you know, the list goes on, knowledge. So it really kind of outlines all those different areas and helps you understand what each area of your space is relating to that part of your life.
I love that.
And so we can use it for home and for business. So I've worked in homes, and I've also worked in businesses to help them create more recognition or greater prosperity or better communication among employees, better productivity. Mm-hmm. So it really works in the home and in the business environment.
So that's a good segue, Jen, into more detail. Maybe we can put up a slide about talking about the different types of elements, or there's this word you keep using and I'm going to butcher it. So what is it?
Oh, the Bagua?
Yeah. Can we put up a slide on the Bagua, and can you take us through kind of what that is and how you use this slide in Feng Shui practice? That would be great.
Sure. Okay. So if we're laying the Bagua down, and I practice the Western version of Feng Shui, so we're going to be laying the Bagua down on the space based on the front door. So there's 2 versions of Feng Shui. There's the Western version, and then there's the traditional version that is going to use like astrology, and it would use the directions to identify exactly where that Bagua is going to lay down. So the Bagua, we're going to lay it down based on the front door, and the Bagua is going to work for both. It's just a matter of where you position it. So from the Western version, we're going to position it based on the front door.
Okay. Perfect.
So the career area is all about, it's basically your life journey. So whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a busy executive, we all have a life journey. So that career area down, typically near the front door, is all about like creative, new energy, new ideas. And it's the beginning of things, and it's where that life journey really works from. If we move over to the left, then we have knowledge and self-cultivation. So this is the Feng Shui picture of sitting on a mountain. So this is where we're really talking about personal development, spiritual development, and it's our resources. So it could be our academia, it could be anything that it's everything that we are, and I like to say it's kind of like the toolbox.
Okay.
Because if you have your skills and knowledge in your personal development, it helps you manage your money better. It helps you show up better in the world. It helps you in your relationships. It helps you manage all those things. And a lot of times people, when they look at the Bhagavad, they're like, oh, I want more prosperity or better relationships. But what I found through all my years of practice is a lot of times the secret is in that knowledge and self-cultivation corner.
So let me ask you this, Jen. With many of the modalities we've already studied, it really, Reiki, okay, it always gets to this place where not one of it is important, but all of it is important. Does Feng Shui have the same principle? Is it saying that it's the whole thing is important, or is it saying, so help me with that?
Oh yeah, the whole Bhagavad is important. I was just kind of giving a little bit more insight on that area of the Bhagavad.
It just made me think about so many other modalities that we've learned, and we were always getting to this place where, I'll give you an example. We did the enneagrams, and we were learning how different we are with our profiles, but we understood that we all have all of the behaviors. So it's kind of that energy, and I like that to note to the work that we've already done. So cool.
Oh, nice. No, we want to look at all the areas of the Bhagavad. Typically, when I work with my clients, I might having them zero in on, okay, if you're looking at all 9 areas, what's like the most top 3, so that we can kind of zero in on that. And it's different for everyone. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just where do we kind of want to focus.
Got it. Perfect.
Okay, so above that is family and ancestors. And this is associated with the wood element. So this is our root system. So whether it's our immediate family at home, our parents, our grandparents, it could be our neighbors, family shows up in a lot of wonderful ways, right? So we want to anchor that side of our house with anything that has to do with, it could be wooden furniture or, plants, anything that has to do with could be a family heirloom or pictures. That's where we're going to anchor over there.
Got it.
So think of it kind of like as the root system. And then above that is our prosperity corner, which is a very popular corner, of course. And here we're going to be talking about like our investments. So it's anything that we find valuable. So we're going to be putting an intention of something that's valuable there. So, if you ask 100 people what prosperity means, you're going to get 100 different answers. So it could be millions of dollars in the bank. It could be a nice sunny day. It could be time with people that you love. The answers are all different. So that's where it's like, but it is mostly related to financial. So it could be your home, your investments, that kind of thing, and just anchoring that corner with something that represents that value. Oftentimes when people talk about having financial problems, we might see maybe there's a missing area in their prosperity corner, or maybe there's something there that is representing like a leak or a break or something. And so we're adding in items to that area to support that area of life.
Really cool. Keep going. This is fascinating.
So then above, right next to prosperity, is external recognition. And this is the Feng Shui picture of clinging fire. So it's that which we are embodies us, right? So it's the fire element. So it's snap, crackle, and pop. It's how you're seen in the world. So whether it's your name and lights, or whether it's your standards and morals, your reputation, how you're seen at home, how you're seen in the workplace, how you're seen in your work environment, all those things, your community, that's what that external recognition is all about. Okay. And then over to the right is, this is where we're talking about relationships. So this is where we're honoring our marriage and duality and partnership. And oftentimes, we really want to focus there where either we're trying to attract a relationship into our life, or whether we're trying to
cultivate the one we have.
Or cultivate the one we have, exactly. But the thing is it always does start with self-love, right? So you have to love yourself first, of course, right? Yeah. and then, but there is where we're going to be placing items of duality, and making sure that we have something that represents romance and love. And oftentimes, sometimes when I'm working with people that are single that want to have a relationship, sometimes we'll find there's a lot of single items in their house. And
So here's a question, just because we're talking about this beautiful kind of, I'm going to call it a map, okay? Do you take the map, apply it to your house based on the front door, as you suggested, but then do you also place it into each room and try to, and each room is a little container of the bigger map? Is that what you do?
great question. So the Bagua is ubiquitous. That's what I always like to say.
Okay.
So you can put it on a piece of property. You can lay it on a house, on a building. You can put it on an office, a home, a desk. I even had one time I had a client that had like 20 different pieces of artwork, and she's like, "How are we going to arrange it?" And I'm like, "Let's just use the Bagua."
Marlene does this for quilting. She does Feng Shui for quilting, and she has this whole math behind it. I just think it's fascinating. So I love the specifics you're giving. So keep going with this. And then I would love for you to kind of break it down too for the elements. You talk about fire and metal. And so after that, if you could go into that, that would be great.
Yep.
Keep going.
Be happy to. Okay. So underneath love and relationship is creativity and children. So this is where we're honoring the children in the house. And it's also honoring our inner child, whimsy, fun. But because it's associated with the metal element, it's also associated with things coming full circle. So starting a project and seeing it all the way through. It's also about, it's about routine and discipline, but it's also about encouragement and fun.
Okay.
So it's all of that thing. And just as an aside, the left side of the Bagua is representative of the past, and then the right side of the Bagua is representative of the future.
Fascinating. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
So underneath that is going to be helpful people and travel. Okay. So this honors those helpful people in our life that just make life, like synchronicity, like being in the right place at the right time. So whether it's a helpful neighbor or a person at work, it could be an employee or a coworker that is just there for you, a friend. It also represents like your spiritual teachers, your mentors that are, showing up in your life in an amazing way. And then as we travel and go out into the world, we bring in new experiences and that kind of thing back to our life. So that's helpful people and travel. And then in the center, we have the health Gua, which is all associated with our physical, spiritual, and emotional health. And the idea with Feng Shui is that when we feel balanced in those three areas, then the rest of life flows gently around it.
And I love that it's in the center. That makes total sense to me. So I think it would be great too, because you've worked with people for so many years. Let's get into a little detail about an example of working with somebody and how you were able to kind of go in and you don't have to say their name or anything, but maybe, kind of why they contracted you to help them and what the solutions were. Could you share something like that with us? That would be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I have an amazing job. I work with people all the time. A lot of times I'll work with them in their home and in their business.
Okay.
And then I also do like, when I first started doing Feng Shui, I would just kind of do like a one and done. And I found that the clients that I worked with over time were the ones that actually got more out of it. So I developed a whole program where I work with people over 5 different sessions.
Oh, I love that.
So we work in their home, we focus on their office, or their workplace, wherever that might be, their personal workspace. We look at their personal chi, because most people are so busy, they're not honoring their personal chi.
Talk about that. What is personal chi?
Personal
I know
chi,
what it is, but I'm sure 90% of the people out there hearing this might not know what that means.
Right. So personal chi it's the way that you're honoring yourself. So it could, and it's different for everyone, right? So it could be like, for me,
it's chi energy.
It's chi, but like for me, it's like doing my meditation, doing yoga, going to see my horse. It's like there's little things that I have to do for Jen time so that Jen shows up good in my relationship, for my work. If I'm not doing those little things, then I'm off.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So, but it's different for everyone. Like for other people, it could be cooking. It could be reading a book. It's like, you just have to find those little things. And oftentimes I find with my clients, and this is what I found through years and years of experience, is that people they're busy, and I'm busy too, but it's like you have to reorganize. And as soon as you reorganize your life just a little bit so that you're honoring your personal chi, you show up better in all the areas of your life.
Boy, there's everybody in our group would benefit hearing that, and they're all living that. So I love that you're making
Yep.
that point. So
Yep.
go to a success story then.
Success story. Let's see. I've had a few lately. I've been working with this woman in her home and in her business, and it's been kind of a fun. It's been fun to see her in both areas, right? In her business, after we worked into her business, she saw a spike in sales, which was nice. And then I just worked with her actually just a week in her home. And it was interesting because she really wants to have a relationship.
Okay.
And she's been divorced. And so and it was interesting in her love and relationship corner, it's kind of like an L-shaped house. So she's missing that corner. And then she had the single like outdoor chair out in the lawn that was from her ex-husband. So we're removing that. We're putting two beautiful like Adirondack chairs, nice. Like adding in pink flowers. So how that's going to end out. We did some other things around her house. So I would love to invite everybody. I've put together a guide that has 18 of the best principles that I've put together over 18 years of my own Feng Shui journey, and you can download it for free.
Oh, that's a huge offer. Thank you. That's so kind of you.
So I'll give you the link.
Before we kind of, wrap up, I want to make sure, is there anything that I have missed? We've talked about a lot of different things, but as far as the basic principles and stuff, that if you wanted people to get a taste and to get a touch of this modality, you would make sure you mentioned what? What am I missing today?
Well, we could talk for a minute more about the 5 elements.
Oh, let's do that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Because the 5 elements are they're my favorite part of Feng Shui.
Okay, let's do it.
And I think a lot of people get confused, and I'll be honest, it wasn't until I went back and did the advanced training on the 5 elements that it really like sunk in. But they're the most beautiful part. There's nothing man-made here. Everything about the 5 elements is in nature. You can look out your window, you can go on a walk, and you can find all 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water.
We'll put up the slide.
Right.
Love it.
So the other thing I wanted to mention is there also, I have a lot of clients that do acupuncture as well. Yeah. So the elements can be tied to different organs of the body and different meridians. So it's also a part of Chinese medicine. So that's why a lot of times, a lot of my clients are also interested in like holistic health.
Okay.
And then they tie in, and it's really fantastic because they'll go to the acupuncturist and, improve their chi, and then they can come home to an environment that is also working with them as well.
Helps them sustain that. I love that. Good point.
Yep.
Good point. Well, let's put up a slide regarding the elements, and if you could take us through that would be great. Okay.
So wood is like wood is the element. So you think of like wood as like plants, greenery, the shape of the column, it's anything made of wood. So wood furniture, just think of like a vast growing tree. And it's the intuitive nature, it's the driving nature. It's the element that's going to get things done. It's going to come up with the plan and like get it implemented, right? And it's going to bring a lot of vision and intuition to any environment, right? Okay. And then fire is like, it's all about social, it's about movement, it could be exercise, it could be interacting with people. It's all about that snap, crackle, pop of life. So, fire can really get the momentum going in our life. So a lot of times people will paint their front door red to like get the energy moving, right?
Got it.
And then we have like our metal element. So wood, fire, earth, metal is, like what we talked about before, it's the organizer, it's the structure, it's the discipline, it's the element that really brings things together. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of the glue, right? Because otherwise everything is just kind of out there, and metal's the thing that pulls it together, right? And then water is flow, right? Water is like creativity and flow, and it's that beginnings of things, and it's really like where ideas start. And it's also how we can create good flow of energy. So a lot of times when people are experiencing a problem in their life, it's usually because they don't have enough flow. Okay. So it could be, clutter or things that are showing up that are kind of glomming up the energy.
Got it.
So, and I'll also say this, you can have too much of an element or too little of an element.
I didn't know
in
that.
your space or in your person. So a lot of times that's why, like, when, you know, one of my sessions that I work with people is they take a 5-element assessment. So we figure out, what elements do you need? Like, you know, like I worked with a business owner who, her metal element was like negative. It was negative. And she was like, I don't understand. You know, she's a social butterfly. Her fire was like off the charts. So it was like social butterfly, wanted to get out and meet everybody, but she wasn't getting anything done. So we brought a lot of metal into her office.
This is so cool. I love
this. Is really cool. Yeah. And then her business, and then it was like, you know, and she created, so I always have people identify like 5-element activities. It's not just putting the stuff in your space, but what action can you take?
Yeah.
So it was like, she created a whole new routine where, so like, you know, it was like Monday and Friday were her like more fun days. And then Tuesday through Thursday, she had to be really serious. And, you know, she created all this organization around her business, and her business started to grow because we identified that she didn't have the metal.
That's a success story right there. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Really fun. So I don't, those are the 5 elements. They all work together. You know,
what they are again, just to make sure we got them all. Say them, list them off.
Wood, fire, earth, metal, and water.
Water. Okay, got it. I want to make sure that we offer, you know, what do you recommend for books and videos or channels besides your own beautiful website and stuff that people, and what I can do is get that from you. We'll put up a beautiful slide, and people can have a connection to books and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the only book that I really recommend is like Tara's book, Who I Studied With.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I think that's a beautiful kind of way to wrap that part of this up. I think we've given good information and given it taste and a touch. You're going to be available to anyone who wants to work with you on our group, right? So they can reach out to you if they'd like more. We'll start some nice activity around that. Are you ready for our rapid fire?
I'm ready.
Okay. Yep, this is quick. You cannot spend a long time answering these questions. They got to be fast. That's why they're called rapid fires. Are you ready? Jen, let's do it.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie?
Ferris Bueller.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's so, I can't get out of high school.
I love that movie. We'll talk offline more about that. If you were going to change the world today, what does the world need in order to be changed?
Be kinder to animals.
Everyone has pet peeves. I'm wondering, what is yours?
I hate wasting time.
Total Aries move right there.
Yep.
We all have beautiful personal qualities about ourselves that we absolutely love. Tell me something about yourself you love.
I'm pretty sensitive, obviously, with my job. I think I'm really sensitive to energy and to other people.
And you love that about yourself. I love that about you too. What are you doing when you're experiencing absolute joy?
Oh, there's lots of things. I love being with my horse, and she's in a pasture with other horses, and going out there when I need to like unhook, I just go sit out in the pasture with those horses. It's magical.
I love it. Hey Jen, thank you so much for your time today and giving us your insight and your beautiful energy towards your beautiful modality called Feng Shui. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jeannie. This is such a wonderful treat. Thank you so much.